Right, I think we're there. I'm just double checking it here to make sure everything's going well. I'm Andrew McKay of Remax here in Wasaga Beach, and this is a market update for April 2020 that's just finished. Just double checking it here to make sure everything's going well. I'm Andrew McKay of Remax here in Wasaga Beach. Yep. Too much echo there. Had a technical difficulty the other day, so I want to check if things working well. I've got another screen here and one here, so it's all a bit overpowering at the moment. Anyway, market update for April 2020. If you can see and hear me okay, or if there's any issues at all, just comment or have a like, a heart, whatever you want to do. A heart may be a bit too much. The figures are for single family detached homes freehold. They're the vast majority of homes that are bought and sold in Wasaga Beach, and they reflect completely how the market is. There's some land sold, a few number of condos, which tends to follow the detached freehold, and land lease, which is a bit of a market on its own. I've got some notes here, and I'm checking over there. So while I look around, just forgive me. Where are we now? Before we get into April, I think we just need, it's best, because times at the moment are totally unprecedented. I meant to say I hope everybody's safe and well. And of course, the frontline workers, a big, big thank you as always. They give us the luxury, as I've said before, of staying home, staying safe, staying well, and we all should still be staying home. Anyway, leading up to April, the first 11 weeks of 2020, the market was really healthy. There was a large number of sales, more sales than the same period in 2019. From March 1st to March 23rd, 30 homes were sold in Wasaga Beach, was again more than 2019 for the same period. March 23rd, we had the state of emergency announced. From March 3rd, 24th to 31st, just 3 homes sold. The market went like that. I'm going to go through the figures from April as a whole, but the first 2 weeks of April did reflect the last week of March. I think everybody was in shock. The market wasn't quite at a standstill, but it was very, very quiet. So getting on to April itself, if you've got any questions, I should say, just put it in the comments. We can go off at a tangent, no problem at all. This will be recorded if you want to watch it later. So I know statistics and figures aren't the most exciting of things, but if you're thinking of buying and selling, it's critical you understand the market. Everybody gets carried away with gleaming hardwood floors, curb appeal, oh, isn't this paint nice? Isn't the yard looking great? All very, very important, apart from maybe the gleaming hardwood floors. But any buyer or seller needs to understand the figures, otherwise it could cost you thousands of dollars. The question we always normally hear is, how's the market? Nowadays, is this a good time to buy or sell? How's the pandemic affecting the real? How is it affecting the real estate market? Should I wait? Will the market better? Will it get worse? Well, nobody really knows. We got an idea, but this, as I said, is unprecedented. All we can go is by the figures that are happening at the moment and your own personal situation. For buying, interest rates, for example, they're never going to be this low. So that's something that needs to be taken into account. Now, as to the figures, there's 5 metrics, 5 numbers that people need to understand. And again, excuse me, I'm just looking at some comments or some private messages with comments as they come over that side. The first one is obviously how many homes are selling. That gives a very easy, quick indication of the market. The average 12-month average price, number 2, that lets you know over the period of time, a year, whether the market is increasing or decreasing. If it's a bad market, prices won't go up as quickly or could possibly even drop. Average days on market. If homes are selling fast, it's a healthy market. If they're taking longer, then it suggests the market's not so great. List to sale price. Sale to list price, I should say. How much are people getting compared to the actual list price? Again, this is an indication of a healthy, strong market or not, whether it's more sellers. If we're getting over 100%, as we did for a few weeks, 2 or 3 years ago, during all that madness, it was very much a seller's market. And the last figure, which a lot of people tend to forget, is how many months of inventory are on the market. We look at the number of homes sold, the number of listings, do some division, and that tells us how many months inventory available. Generally speaking, 1 to 4 months is seen as a seller's market. Not many homes for selling. They're selling not many homes for sale, and they're selling quickly. Middle 4, 5, 6 is a balanced market. That's a nice position to be in. It's a healthy market, but there's not pressure on buyers and or sellers to make quick decisions. 7, 8, 9, 10 months and above, very much a buyer's market. A lot of inventory around. It's taken a lot of time to sell. Prices won't be increasing that well. Now, buyers tend to think, well, that's great, that's what we want. But a majority of buyers have somewhere to sell, so it reflects both ways. You have to be careful what you wish for. Anyway, into the figures for Wasaga Beach. I will just share my screen so you can follow along. A few clicks here and we should end up with the market report. Hopefully everybody could see that. If somebody could kindly leave a comment to let me know, that would be good. It's a bit, yep, that's good. Okay, right, here's the market report. As we said, 21 homes sold. That's healthy. That's not too bad at all. It's down somewhat on last year, but actually I'll go back a stage so you get an overall picture for the month. It's most really easiest. The number of sales for Wasaga Beach during April this year compared to April last year was down 35.6%. Now, not surprising, a lot of that reflects the lack of activity in the first 2 weeks of April, but not disastrous, but cheers. Not disastrous by any means. To give you some idea, we've got some notes here. Collingwood was down 72%, and the South Georgian Bay as a whole, the area was down 65%. So the 35.6% in Wasaga Beach is not too bad at all. Anyway, excuse me, I went off at a tangent. The number of sales in Wasaga Beach during April, there's 21 sales. That's down from just over 30 in April 2019. And April 2018 was even busier, but there was a lot more homes for sale. So homes are still selling. I've been through this before. It has to be essential sellers or buyers, but they are definitely still selling. The second metric we look at is the 12-month average sales price. Now, this is still very, very healthy in Wasaga Beach. It's running at 521,297. This is up nearly 11% over April 2019. And in hard cash, an increase of $51,345. So very, very healthy indeed. Nothing to be too worried about. It's not a bubble. It's just there's demand in Wasaga Beach. Right, the third metric I was talking about, and I should just let you see this, 521, 10.93. The third metric is days on market. Currently running at 49. I'm just playing with a little camera here. Currently running at 49 days just there. Now, to give you some idea, you would expect it to be lower. March it was 32, February was 30, and April is normally the start of our busy period. April, May and June are traditionally the busiest months. So you would have thought the days on market would be less than 30, less than the preceding 2 months. However, it's not surprising given what's happened, and I keep harking back to that. But it's not disastrous. It wasn't that long ago, within the last 10 years, that for the whole year, the days on market was 6. When you took the average for a whole year, it's 60, 70, 80 days. So we're under half what it has been. Now, this is for April. I should hasten, this is for April 49. For the year as a whole, we are running at, 39. Year as a whole is 39. So compared to the 60, 70, 80 days we've had 7, 8 years ago, that's not too bad at all. Right, the average sale to list price for April was 96.59%. I should hasten, if you want a copy of this report, just to look at it in more slowly, because I know when the figures are thrown at you, it can be a bit overwhelming. But if you'd like a copy of the report, please just either leave your name in the comments, or send me a DM. Send me a DM, is it? Whatever it is, send me a private message. 2019, it was 90 for the whole was 97.09%. So April wasn't much below last year as a whole. If, as I've spoken before, essential bars, essential sellers, basically anybody who was selling their house had to be essential, and the definition of that is they needed to sell. Motivated is the word we use. So you would expect prices to be a little bit lower compared to list price under those conditions, and people didn't want, from my own experience, I was involved in quite a few sales relatively, people didn't want the backwards and forwards negotiating. Both sides saw that they wanted to meet a middle ground, didn't mess around, as to use the cliche, get the deal done and put everybody's mind at rest. So not disastrous by any means, but an expected drop. Right, on to, let's just highlight that. As you can see, year to date, 92 homes this year in Wasaga Beach, 100 last year. So 8% down overall on the year. Not too bad at all. And if the weather's been pretty crappy actually, hasn't it? It's been snowing today, 9th of March. And the weather affects us, it sounds a bit lame. If June had suddenly turned out to be really nice, May, June, we would have overtaken that 92. 92 reflects the down market in April. It's a guess. I could have seen us being 10, 15, 20% up year on year, at least by the end of June. Excuse me. This is when you want to look through this report, let me know. As you can see, January, same sort of, just roughly the same sales as 2019. February was busier. March was down slightly, and that would be through the last week. We were then down considerably. These were busy years, 15, 16, 17, 18, although 18 tailed off a little bit. 16 was worrying. You get to those sort of figures, it sounds great, but you might be hearing a bubble. If we'd followed 2019, I think most people would be happy with that. And that 10% increase in the average sales price means we're not heading for the bubble. Average days on market. As we said, April's 49. If you look, you can see 49 is not bad historically. Going back last year, what happened? 48, 79 at Christmas, that's to be expected. But we were busy. Low 30s for February and March. Very, very good. Again, just some of the metrics I've given you already, those 5. Draw a line from that, 96.6%. We're not far off what's happened previously. And some of these graphics are a bit too bright for myself. So yeah, let's talk about pricing. The most important thing when you're selling a home, it's not an exact science by any means, but something we need to know. So now the highest amount of sales, and I want to get this right, that's why I'm reading it, year to date, not just April, but year to date, was in the price range 375 to 425, and from 475 to 600. So with an average price of 510, up to 600 was still a busy area, and the less expensive homes. In April, and again, it was a strange month, obviously, the highest number of sales were between 615 and 650,000, indicating there were serious buyers. In all honesty, they realised there were people looking at slightly more expensive homes and they needed to sell. Now, the good news, there's been 3 sales in Wasaga Beach this year between 800 and 900, and 3 sales over $1 million. Nothing between 900 and $1 million. Why that is, that if you're looking at pricing your home, you need to know this stuff. I'm glossing over it a little bit, just giving you the highlights, but please do give me a call if you'd like some more information. And I think that's it. That's where we're getting there with all the figures. Like I said, if you'd like to DM me or leave a comment below, if you're listening to this on the podcast, thank you very much. Just leave a review. And remember, it's the 5 figures. If you're thinking of buying or selling, number of homes sold, the average sale price, average days on market, average list to sale ratio, and how much inventory there is. Don't get excited about the gleaming hardwood floors. Know those 5 figures. Your realtor should know them. Ask them, and that will tell you what the market's like. Pricing a home is not an exact science. Emotion is involved, obviously, and there is value to that emotion. You're buying a home. We all understand that. But you should be starting from a factual position to ensure if you're a buyer, you don't overpay. There may be some value, not dollar value. It's near a family member. So for you, there's value in the house that wouldn't apply to anybody else. We all understand that. But you don't want to overpay by too much, or you want to be aware what you're paying may be a little bit above market value because of that value to being near your parents' house, for example. For sellers, we all think a house is worth more than it is. I would be equally as guilty. We've got an emotional attachment to the house. It's very, very difficult not to put a value on that in your own mind. It's our home. It's got value to us. That's what it boils down to. Very understanding. But your realtor needs to be giving you the market statistics, these figures, so you understand where it's priced. Too often, that emotional attachment can make you price high. The house ends up sitting there. It gets frustrating. The house can help sell other houses. There's nearby houses more realistically priced. People show your house and then go to another house, and it makes the other house look better. Sellers say, well, we can always reduce. The maximum exposure under normal circumstances for your house is during the first few days. That's when there's a group of buyers ready and waiting. They're there, they're looking for the new listings. Your house is too expensive compared to the market. They go on to something else. You lose all that interest. You're then waiting for new buyers to come onto the market. Or when you do a reduction, and I've spoken to buyers, they know how they will know the price is coming, house is coming down in price. They presume you're motivated. They tell us, they must be desperate. What happens is, how long has it been on the market? Has there been a price reduction? And then the buyers say they must be desperate. We like to say motivated, not to sound too rude. So they're not an exact science, but a lot of negatives and to overpricing. And we can always reduce, or the last thing, well, just bring us an offer. We'll look at offers. You don't get the offers. If it's priced too high, you're helping to sell other houses, or buyers are just not interested. You won't necessarily get the offers. If houses are selling at 96, 97, 98% of list price, then people aren't interested in anything that's 10% low list. If they price, they won't, you know, buyers are wary of going in. They'd rather go and see another house. Anyway, I hope I haven't taken up too much of your time. There's a couple of direct messages. That was a DM, a direct message came in, so I'll answer those. As I said, if you'd like a copy of this market report, please do let me know. And thank you for joining. I'll speak to you again soon. Cheers.